إن الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا يرضى وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So I have a very long question here from a sister named Anonymous Bint. And the reason why I want to deal with this is because a lot of these doubts that she has, many brothers and sisters have the same type of thoughts and doubts. So I just wanted to deal with this, inshallah. So I'm going to deal with this. I'm not going to deal with all in this particular video. I'm going to have to do it in a series. And hopefully, inshallah, I hope that this will benefit the brothers and the sisters in general by looking at these questions and answering these questions about certain people and certain personalities and groups and centers and everything like that. So I'm going to read the question first. It's very long, right? And then I'll deal with the way that I would handle this, inshallah. So we will start by reading what Anonymous Bint says. So she starts, "This is very long. Please read to the end. I'm speaking for others as well who might be in the same dilemma as myself. I am still a bit new to Salafiyah, and I used to take from Salafi du'at in general. Abdurrahman Hassan, Abu Taymiyyah, and spubs too. I try to take from all who openly call to Salafiyah, and I am trying to not blindly follow anyone. I look at the refutations and also channels like this. I would like a clearer picture of what is happening. I was also watching your series about Salafiyah in the West. I felt it was an eye-opening, but now I am confused. Muhammad Hijab implies on a video that Salafiyah is merely nostalgic. He promotes Yasser Qadi and Nouman Ali Khan even posted up their websites on his video about Abu K on his channel. Ali Dawa promoted Yusuf Estes in his charity video, and you might already know that Yusuf Estes promotes the belief that the Quran is not here with us, a belief refuted by classical scholars. Yusuf Estes said on video that the Quran is not with us, and he continues to defend it. He has said other grave things, which you can see at here and at Imam al-Juri said, and those who claim that the Quran is only a narration of the Quran, which is in Lahu Mahfuz, have lied. It should be said to someone who says this, the Quran declares you a liar and rejects your statements, and the Sunnah declares you a liar and rejects your statements. Muhammad Hijab never attributed himself to Salafiyah, and he belittled the issue of understanding Allah's attributes. Let's see here. I gotta scroll up. Sorry, just give me Allah's attributes. Okay. Whether Allah has a hand, and said the Ummah has bigger issues to worry about than Aqidah. Mufti Munir made a video with Hijab and an Al Azhar student, and I saw that Al Azhar has been refuted severely by scholars such as Sheikh Albani for teaching the Ash'ari creed. I don't know what Ikhwani principles are, but I don't understand why hijab is promoted when he belittled Aqidah and Salafiyah on video. Ali Dawa promotes Yusuf Estes, and I'm confused because both sides seem like they have some truth. I listened to the spubs refutations, and they are correct on some things, but these things they are correct on get ignored, and rather the defense is Fulan is more qualified than them, or it's for personal reason. Mufti Munir, may Allah bless him, said taking knowledge from a spinning top Sufi is better than taking from an immoral Salafi, and when I looked to what the scholars of the past said, he was wrong. I don't see the brothers in opposition to spubs refuting the stances on people like hijab, and when there are mistakes made, I don't see retractions. It is confusing to me because it seems like both sides just attack each other. Why is there alliance with Muhammad Hijab after his statements? Okay, and scroll up. It is as if anyone who's against spubs, uh, this side allies with them. I'm not defending them, but what I'm saying and trying to explain is that the reason why many still follow them blindly is because this side allies and does not refute when people do dodgy stuff. It is more confusing. Hijab belittles Salafiyya and Akida openly. Ali, may Allah guide him, made a video with Yusuf Estes, and no one from this side is saying anything. It would be better to address the issues directly rather than just explaining that Spubs refutes with ulterior motives, because they even if they do, the people are left confused as these refutations contain content that seem to be true, and because the points are not addressed directly, fitna just grows bigger and there is a sense of blind following. I don't even know what to believe because one side is accused of refuting with ulterior motives, and the other side, where are we here? The other side does not address the refutations directly, but rather promotes people who are not Salafi and openly belittle Salafiyya and say we should not take from spubs because they have ulterior motives. Please make a video about this. I think she's saying it says, yeah, I think she's trying to say this. It says here his, but I think it's a typo. Please make a video about this if you can, and please advise others to handle the points from refutations directly instead of in a dismissive manner. There's probably a lot of young people who have this exact same dilemma, and it would be nice if all the Salafi brothers could come together and iron out their differences, refute each other face to face, retract where retraction is needed, and unite upon the manhaj, because all of this is so problematic. The main issue I still have reservations about is about this side is because they promote people who belittle Salafiyya and do not refute poisonous statements like what Hijab said. We need transparency. Openly refuting falsehood and not allying with people who study at Al Azhar, attack Salafiyya, etc. This fitna is very big. I ask Allah to guide and protect all of us to remove the shubahat from the Salafi dawah. Okay, so barakallah fiki. Okay, so this is, as you can see, it's a very long question, and there are a lot of issues in here. So, firstly, I want to answer from a practical standpoint. That's the first thing, and then the second thing I'll deal with Muhammad Hijab himself, because a lot of this is about Muhammad Hijab, and then we'll go through some practical application. Okay, so from a practical application standpoint, rather, like the practical standpoint, is first of all, and my sister, I want you to understand something, that Islam in general, it's about principles and not personalities. And all these you're listing a lot of people here and their mistakes and whatnot, and how Muhammad Hijab promotes, for example, Yasir Qadi and Nouman Ali Khan, and both of them, of course, I personally have big problems with, especially Nouman Ali Khan, right? And Ali Dawah promoted Yusuf Estes, and we know what Yusuf Estes he had said about the Quran and other many mistakes he has. But I want you to understand something, that your religion is not based upon what these people say or believe. Your religion is based upon what you yourself believe. So if these people are making mistakes, and they will make mistakes, every single human being will make mistakes, right? It's not upon you to start calling the people against their mistakes. And the ulema have spoken about this particular issue in great detail, because when the fitna broke out, all the ulama, they said the same thing. I'm going to tell you the same thing, what what the ulema have said, and you can look it up on anywhere online. They're widely available. Any alim will tell you the same thing. They will say, just seek knowledge, leave these issues alone. All of them say that, without exception, including Sheikh Rabee, Habibullah. They all say the same thing. Leave these issues and seek knowledge. Why? Because now, when you start occupying yourself with these things, imagine how much Quran you could have memorized in the time you used to follow up these issues. How much hadith you could have memorized. What kind of classes you could have taken in Islam or whatnot, right? Instead of following up on what Muhammad Hijab said or who Ali Dawah promoted and whatnot. So, and I know that a lot of the youth, they've actually heard the ulama say this, but they're saying this for a very good reason. And the reason is that you don't get caught up in this stuff, right? Second of all, let's say, for example, that everything you're saying is correct in your criticisms of Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah and Yusuf Estes and Yasser Hadi and right. Let's say that your criticisms are correct on all of them, right? Who has the right to make jarh of these people? Is it people like me and you? Is it people like Abu Khadija and Shamsi and Bilal Davis? Is it people like us, or is it the ulama? Right? When it comes to jarh, right, you're removing the honor of a Muslim in order to protect the masses of the Muslims. So that is always done by an alim, without exception, right? Laymen are not supposed to be making jarh. And you will not find not a single alim saying that people like Shamsi and Abu Khadija and Abu Talha and Bilal Davies and Anwar Wright and these type of people, you will not find a single alim saying that these people are qualified to make jarh wa ta'til. Not one. Wallah al-adhim. You cannot find not one. So once you understand this concept, and once you understand that people will get involved in these type of issues, the ones who leave these issues quicker and start seeking knowledge are the ones who are going to benefit faster. Because Allah does not give izzah or honor to people who dishonor the Muslims, like never. And that's why you will find that that's why you find nowadays that the Sahaba are getting like basically smashed in every turn, right? So now that is from a practical standpoint, right? So now I know you want to hear about my opinion about your concerns about Muhammad Hijab, and I'll deal with it, inshallah, right? So we'll go back, and you said that Muhammad Hijab implied on a video that Salafi is merely nostalgic, right? He promotes Yasser Qadi and Nouman Ali Khan, and what else did he say here? Okay, so we'll just deal with that part first, okay? First of all, sister, and anybody else who's listening to this, right? And never forget this, right? Just because somebody has a different opinion than you, it doesn't necessitate that you make a jarh on them, right? So, for example, Muhammad Hijab now, right? You're saying that he promotes Yasser Qadi and Nouman Ali Khan. Okay, let's say that, for example, this is true. What is Muhammad Hijab? What does he actually do, right? Does he have Aqidah classes? Does he have fiqh classes somewhere? Does he have is he teaching hadith? Is he teaching tafsir al-Quran or anything like this? No. All he does is he debates atheists and Christians online. That's what he does. That's his job, right? He has an opinion. You might not agree with his opinion, right? And his opinion might actually be wrong because, in my opinion, Yasser Qadi, in my personal opinion, Yasser Qadi, he said something about the Rafida Shia that basically he legitimized them, right? And this is a very big mistake, and this is enough for him to be refuted. However, At the same time, Yasser Qadi is a legit alim. He is a legit scholar and he has legit knowledge. He studied at Medina University. He has his BA in Akira, and I think he might have a master's. So he has a PhD. He knows his stuff, right? Wouldn't it be better for you to make dua for somebody like Yasser Qadi so that he can, retract those statements that he made, and so that the Muslims can benefit from him? Furthermore, Yasser Qadi, in my opinion, right, there's nobody more knowledgeable in Sirah, in the English language, than Yasser Qadi. That's the haq, right? Take it or leave it, even with his mistakes. So now if you want to know about the Sirah of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where are you going to go from amongst the Salafis? Who's going to teach you about Sirah? Musa Richardson, Abu Khadija, Anwar Wright? Who? If you need to know Sirah. As far as I know, and unless somebody else can correct me on this, and I have no problem being corrected, the only person or the best person in the English language to get knowledge about Sirah is Yasser Qadi. Take it or leave it, right? Muhammad Hijab. And this is another thing about Salafiyya you have to understand. Salafiyya is an actual manhaj, right? There are people who make Salafiyya into a group like the Sa'afika, right? They're the ones who make the Salafiyya into a group, and even elements of the Khawarij, like Osama bin Laden and the likes of these groups like ISIS, whatever. They make Salafis into an actual group. But Salafiyya itself is a manhaj, which means that the name Salafi is not important. So if you're saying, for example, that Muhammad Hijab, he doesn't openly call to Salafiyya, okay, no problem. Let's say that I accept this from you. What is his bid'ah if he has innovation? And if he doesn't have innovation, then what is his methodology? Is his methodology to call to the Quran and to the Sunnah with the understanding of the Salaf Saalih? Even if he doesn't call himself Salafi, then in actuality he's Salafi without calling himself Salafi. And many Imams in the past, they were like this. And Nawawi was like that. Ibn Hajar was like that. So many Imams of the past. Furthermore, because somebody calls to something other than Salafiyya does not necessitate that they are Ahlul Bid'ah, right? As long as their manhaj is Salafiyya. I hope you understand that, right? So now, what's we call it? Muhammad Hijab, he says that he's Hanbali, right? He openly calls himself Hanbali. Okay, what you got to understand is that in the past, and even some aspects of today, the people who call themselves Hanbali, in the past, they were considered Salafi. It's like they're saying the same thing. If you go to India now, the people don't call themselves Salafi there. They call themselves Ahl al-Hadith. In Sudan and parts of Africa, the Salafis don't call themselves Salafis, they call themselves Ansar Sunnah. In Bahrain and eastern parts of the Gulf, the Salafis call themselves Athari. And it's all the same manhaj. The important thing is the manhaj, right? Not the name, right? It's the methodology that's important. So, and as for Nouman Ali Khan, then, of course, Nouman Ali Khan he's somebody who actually lied on the Prophet ﷺ with hadith. You should not be promoting them. Of course, this is a mistake. It's a khata. However, at the same time, you have to know. You have to know what's the reason or the logic behind Muhammad Hijab working with Nouman Ali Khan, right? Is it to bring non-Muslims into Islam or whatever? Like the job that he's doing. If that's the case, if his job is dawah to non-Muslims, right? At the end of the day, it's not important that he's working with these people. For example, let me explain to you like in a way that you can see where I'm coming from here, right? You said that Muhammad Hijab, he says that we have more important issues to worry about than Allah's hand. Okay, why is he saying that? Because Muhammad Hijab just recently came back from Syria feeding orphans and what you call it, homeless Syrians who are running from their lives from the war in Syria, right? So you think these people are right now concerned? Their biggest concern is the hand of Allah or getting food in their stomachs, right? You have to put everything in its proper place. You see what I'm saying? So that's what he's saying, right? That's how I would understand it anyway. And it's not to what you call it. It's not downgrading Akida. It's putting everything in its proper place, in its proper spot, right? So and this has been done throughout Islamic history, putting everything in its proper place. What you've been taught is that the most important thing in Islam are the intricate details of Akida, such as Allah's hand and Allah's foot and Allah's face. And this is important when you're debating the Ash'ari. Yes, it's important in that case, but it's not important in every single situation. And the proof of this, right, is, for example, how the Salaf dealt with Salahuddin Ayyubi. I don't know if you know who Salahuddin Ayyubi is, but he is the one who opened up Al-Quds, right? He opened up basically a Masjid al-Aqsa for the Muslims when the Crusaders came. Okay, so at this time, all the Muslims, whether they were Salafi or not, gathered behind Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, right? This is really happened, and it's a part of our Islamic history, right? And nobody, not a single alim, refuted Salahuddin Ayyubi. Why is this important? Because Salahuddin Ayyubi was openly and happily Ash'ari, and he was calling to the Ash'ari Aqidah openly. And he was somebody who promoted the Aqidah of the Ash'ari, right? But yet the ulema did not refute him. Why? Because they had more important things to deal with than to worry about Allah's hand. You get it? Right? The Christians are coming to try to take over Al-Aqsa. The Christians are literally coming to try to take over Al-Aqsa. Now, you think now is the time to be arguing whether Allah has a hand or a foot? No, it's not the time for that. This is what Muhammad Hijab is saying. Not that Aqidah is not important. I hope that makes sense to you, right? And don't let people try to control your thoughts and control your religion, right? Put everything in its proper place. Everything has its proper place. Take everything in context. If you're a Salafi, you have to take, when somebody makes a statement, you take the context of the statement, you narrate truthfully, you narrate with precision, right? And if you're going to refute them, you refute them with justice, right? So Muhammad Hijab, he's making da'wah to non-Muslims. Muslims are not seeking knowledge from Muhammad Hijab to go and, for example, they're not taking Aqidah classes from him. So what is the point of refuting somebody like Muhammad Hijab? If he has a mistake, correct the mistake. It's no big deal. Every single human being makes mistakes. Yusuf Estes made big mistakes, very big, right? Every single thing that Musa Richardson criticized him with was 100% spot on. Where I disagree with him, with Musa Richardson, is calling him Jahmi and basically making tabdi on him. But he said, and he Musa Richardson, he said, no, I'm not making tabdi. But yeah, come on, man. If you're saying he's making the mistakes of Jahmiyyah and this and that, then what are you saying, right? Yusuf Estes became Muslim in his old age. Of course he's gonna make mistakes. Of course he is. Is that a joke? Look how old he is when he became Muslim. He was a Christian preacher, and his job was to preach on a minbar, on a stage, to Christians. That's what he was doing before. When he became Muslim, he just kind of transitioned into the same type of thing. And he doesn't have knowledge, and he's not a scholar, and nobody's seeking fatwa from him. But he got put in position on Peace TV because, let's face it, because he's an old white guy from the South, right? Where he has to answer questions, and he got, basically put in a position which was not fair to him. It was not fair to the Muslims at large, and it was not fair to those new Muslims who were actually asking him the questions. All of this is true, but to say that he's like to give him a jarh on that level, it's unjust because he's just a regular guy, and because he had that platform, it's nobody seeks knowledge from Yusuf Estes. What is the danger on just correcting his mistakes? You see what I'm saying? An alim would not refute. I mean, it's highly unlikely an alim would refute somebody like Yusuf Estes because it's not worth their time. They know that he's not the head of anything. He doesn't have like a following of Jahmids running around behind him. Same thing with Muhammad Hijab. He's not the head of any particular group. The heads of groups are people like Yusuf Qaradawi. Yusuf Qaradawi is the head of Ikhwan al-Muslimin. He's somebody that needs to be refuted. The heads of groups are people like, for example, Mathalan Nuh Hamim Keller, one of the big heads of the Ash'ara and the Sufiya, right? And what's that? Habib Omar and all these different heads of these groups. Those are the type of people that the ulema refute, not people like Ali Dawa and Muhammad Hijab. Come on, man. It's like a joke. I'm sorry to say it like that. But anyway, this will be the first part of my series, inshallah. Tomorrow I will continue, and I will go into bigger detail, right? And as for, I just want to close off with Yasir Qadhi. Wallahi, Yasir Qadhi is somebody who let me just come out and say it. Actually, I make a dua for Yasir Qadhi for sure, because I know that if he just retracted some of his positions, right? And it's not even a lot, just a few of those. If he just retracted a few of those positions, right, then he would actually help the dawah tremendously, because he has a lot of education and he knows Sirah very well, right? But it's just he went too far especially with the Shia, right? Because if you're going to legitimize the Shia, it's like, for example, legitimizing Donald Trump to work with the Muslims to help build, Islam. Would you think of doing something like that? No. Historically, the Shia have been killing Sunnis, and one of the best kept secrets in the Muslim world today is the outright oppression of Sunni Muslims in Iran, right? Since the Safawiya, the Khilafah Safawiya, the Safawi dynasty from Ismail Safawi, right? Since he invaded Persia, they've been killing Sunnis. That man killed millions of Sunni Muslims in Iran. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but Iran used to be a Sunni stronghold until the Safawi dynasty, and they forced millions of Sunnis to become Shia by force, and the rest who didn't become, they murdered them. They murder Sunnis in Iran on a regular basis, the ones who openly speak against Tashayya, right? The ones who, and then You want to have a unity conference with the Shia? Come on, man. And there's so many things like the Shia, their whole goal in life is to eradicate Sunnis. That's it. Their religion is to hate Sunnis. That is the fundamental basis of their religion. They hate the Sahaba. They have cursing sessions on the Sahaba, right? They talk about the rewards of killing the Sunni and all kinds of craziness, right? And I have stories about being in a Shia masjid and everything. But anyway, that's why uh, you know Yasser Qadi. That's one of the main reasons why he deserves to be refuted because of this, and he knows better. For sure, he does, right? And I do make dua for him that he would like retract some of these positions because I believe that he can help them a lot, right? But that's just my personal thing, right? But at any rate, um, I hope that's clarifies some of your questions, and I will leave some more tomorrow because I can't answer all in one session, obviously, right? So, subhanakallah wa hamdik wa ashhadu an la ilaha ant wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.